economy in a sensible way. But I also know that if it's important, at least in my experience, that what you do right. Because if you do it wrong, you're going to have to do it over again, at least in my business, and it's going to cost you money. So if we don't do this right, we'll end up paying for it, or our kids will pay for it, or our community will pay for it. All of which is to say, I'm concerned about the expense of pulling the trigger on this, to use Joe's analogy, the firearm analogy. I'm more inclined at this point to have faith in not only our county commissioners and our new county Philip, and we also have a port commission that I don't want to hand new people coming in as port commissioners, but I don't want to hand a situation to this so that they have to react and are not able to do their own planning. So again, on those 6s and 7s, I want to do whatever helps us go forward together. I want to insist on that. If I thought that this would allow me to insist that we go forward together, I'd pass this. I'd say, I'm going to appeal this. Since we said we were going to do this, I've had breakfast with the county commissioner, I've had calls from the port commission, I've had, I'm getting a lot more contact about, let's work together than I was before we said we were mad and we were going to do something. So if we can work constructively and we can have assurance that we can work constructively, then I'm interested in doing that. But I think we're not the only player here, and we have been attentive to this. We've been working on this for many years and many months in terms of trying to work through these issues to just get a scope that we could all agree on, so we could all be, instead of looking at each other at a meeting like this, celebrating what we accomplished together. Here's something that's well defined, and we have this thing nailed down, and this is going to be great for everybody. It's not that difficult if there's a certain amount of trust. So I'm kind of agreeing with Mark. I think maybe somebody has to put some trust on the table, and maybe that should be us, but we'd be taking a risk, because it has not thus far gone as I hoped it would when we had that workshop. And I'd be looking for change moving forward and looking for better collaboration.
Anyone else? Catherine? George? George?
I listen to Mark and David, and I hear wise things. They fall on unreceptive ears to a degree, because it's hard sitting here all night being told that we, the city, should take the high road, when, from our perspective, the other two players are already well down a different road. And we're being asked to trust and not act, yet the other two players have seen fit to act, and to act in contradiction to the mutual pledge, at least of the county and the city, to work together. I don't think that worked. I think we sang Kumbaya and then went our separate way. And to me, that's unfortunate and disappointing. And I resent being told that we should take the high road, because I think all of us should be on the same road, preferably the high road. And we'll hear this a lot perhaps tonight. Having said that, I believe still there's room for trust. There is a way we can work together. I certainly have faith in David Timmons and Philip Morley. They, to me, are the nucleus of a process that can work. I think it must work. And if we choose tonight not to preserve one of our two options, I'm going to trust that should it come to pass that we want to take our second option, the GMA option, the objection that we should have gone the other route that we might foreclose tonight will not be raised. I think that that would be a sign of extreme bad faith if that were to occur. But And I'm not asking anyone in this room to make a pledge to that effect, I'm just saying that's how I look at it. And if I vote to not proceed with the proposed action, it'll be based on that.
Thank you, George. Lori?
I haven't lived here as long as some of the people in the audience. I've only been here 22 years this month, as a matter of fact. One of the main reasons I decided 6 years ago to run for city council was because as a citizen, I was very concerned about the perception, my perception, that the city and the county and the port simply couldn't work together because everybody had their own agenda. Being actively involved for the last 6 years, I know that that's not the case. It's not necessarily mutually exclusive that we can work together. Mark, you spoke very eloquently about trust. Neither time when I got married did I go to the courthouse and apply for a marriage license and also file for divorce, just to protect my interest in case in the future I wanted to change my mind and do something else. So with a whole heart, I am most willing to trust that the individual persons involved in the 3 government entities, as well as the staffs and the citizens of all of Jefferson County, can agree to work together and come out with a positive solution that doesn't unnecessarily cost this community money. That's my piece. I said it.
Thank you, Lori. Chris?
I have about 5 pages of things, but most of them have been answered and rediscovered and said by some fellow counselors as I sat there diligently writing all the protests on all the sides. I sit there and look at the facts and look at what I see the port could have done in good faith. I look at the county's decisions and what they could have done. I look at the city's decisions and what they could have and should have done over and over, and I sit there and play all of these scenarios which have landed us here tonight, and it bothers me. It bothers me that nobody's talking to each other. It bothers me that it's come to this. It bothers me that nobody was interested in talking, and the board didn't feel it important enough to come to a collaboration meeting. It bothers me that until we said we are going to vote tonight on litigation or a potential litigation, suddenly the phones ring off the hook and everybody wants to have a chat and promises that they're going to work together. This fundamentally bothers me that the port has to sue the county for their say and what they feel is right over and over again, that everybody's suing everybody. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand why we can't sit down like professional people and work out a balance. This is completely beyond my comprehension. In that same statement, it bothers me that we all sat down together with the port and the county and all the interested parties and came up with an agreeable GMA. And everybody can make their own comp plan, but the city doesn't really get much say in the comp plan as far as I understand it, but everybody got to bring their interests forward in the GMA, and the GMA doesn't say rezone the airport in this way, and that bothers me a little. What it does say is that the county should focus on getting in their infrastructure so that the tri-area can thrive, which is what I believe should happen. I think that the UGA can be an incredible asset for our entire area. I think that is where, not maybe the little trinket shops down Water Street go, that's where a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the things that are pulling people out of this community are going, and I think that that needs to be addressed for the county.